And welcome back to the special edition of Hannity. And tonight I am joined by a studio audience of national security experts, Navy SEALs, congressmen, and many more. And as you just heard, the president is not afraid to brag about his opposition to enhanced interrogation, or GITMO. Now, the irony is that those are the very same policies that allowed our intelligence community to locate Bin Laden. And my next guest took to the op-ed pages of the Wall Street Journal this week to remind the president that Abraham Lincoln never spiked the football after the Civil War. I think it's a very valid point. Here with more on this is former Attorney General of the United States, who presided over a number of very high-profile terror trials as a federal judge, Michael Mukasey. How are you?
Well,
good to see you, sir. Thank you for being with us. I read your whole piece. I have it in front of me. First of all, the thing that bothered me, which has not been talked about much in the media, is the president had a fallback if this didn't work out. He had a CYA.
Yeah, that memo I thought was very significant.
Explain this.
Well, there was a memo from Leon Panetta that described the authority that was given to McRaven, and it was to proceed according to the risks, only according to the risks that had been outlined to the president, and if he encountered anything else, he had to check back. And you better believe that if anything else had been encountered and the mission had failed, then the blame would have fallen on McRaven. That's what that's about.
So in other words, here the president's now, everything worked out in this case, but he had put in place a CYA that if it went wrong, McRaven would have been the fall guy?
That was a highly lawyered memo.
Wow. So you're saying this was designed to protect the president politically?
I think there's going to be more that comes tumbling out about that escapade, but so far that memo is enough.
You went through a little bit of history here, and you talked about General Eisenhower, and you talked about Abraham Lincoln, and you talked about their handling of very delicate military situations that they faced.
Well, I chose Abraham Lincoln not on my own, but because President Obama said that was the person he wanted to emulate. So I figured it was reasonably just to go to Abraham Lincoln. The night after Lee surrendered, Lincoln delivered what turned out to be his last speech from the window of the White House. He rejected taking any credit for it, put it on General Grant and the troops, and then talked mostly about the problems of Reconstruction and in favor of black suffrage.
He actually did the opposite. He stood up for General George McClellan.
He, earlier in his career, stood up for McClellan and for his defense secretary, who were being blamed. He said, no, the blame should be mine. You know, the definition of one definition of a great leader is somebody who takes less credit than he should and takes more blame than he should. And that's not what we've got now.
You also talked about Dwight Eisenhower.
Dwight Eisenhower, before the Normandy invasion, wrote out a message that was to be given in the event the invasion failed and in the event the Germans threw us off the beaches. What it said was, I picked the place where we landed. The troops, the Navy, the airmen did their best and their most valorous. If anybody deserves blame, it's me. And
how many troops did we lose? What, 7,000, 8,000 men when they slammed the beaches of Normandy?
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of loss. And he had prepared to actually take the blame, not the.
Correct.
And then he gave praise after.
Right. A week later, when it became clear that it was a success, he wrote another message, giving all the credit to the troops. The only time he mentioned himself was at the end when he said, I'm proud of you.